4 years ago, this lesson from Jordan Peterson helped me to understand what is happiness and where to start.
Well, it shouldn't be our life goal, because there are times in your life when you're not going to be happy. And then what are you going to do? Your goal is demolished. And there are going to be plenty of times in your life when you're not happy. There might be years. And so it's a shallow boat in a very rough ocean. And it's based upon a misconceptualization. Happiness is something that descends upon you. Everyone knows that. You know, it comes upon you suddenly. And then you should be grateful for it, because there's plenty of suffering. And if you happen to be happy, well, wonderful. Enjoy it. Be grateful for it. And maybe try to meditate on the reasons that it manifested itself, right? Because it can come as a mystery, you know. You don't necessarily know when you're going to be happy. Something surprising happens and delights you. And you can analyze that. You can think, well, I'm doing something right. I'm in the right place right now. I've done something right. Maybe I can hang on to that. Maybe I can learn from that. What you should be pursuing instead is, well, there's two things. You should be pursuing who you could be. That'd be the first thing. It's like, because you're not who you could be, and you know it. You have guilt and shame and regret, and you berate yourself for your lack of discipline and your procrastination and all your bad habits. You know perfectly well that you're not who you could be. And God only knows who you could be. And so that's who you should be that's what you should be striving for.
Well, yes, that is all nice in theory. But what is the tangible, actionable way of finding out who you could be?
So part of the reason you choose your damn sacrifice, because the sacrifice is inevitable, but at least you get to choose it. And then there's something that's even more complex than that in some sense, is that the problem with being a child is that all you are is potential, and it's really low resolution. You could be anything, but you're not anything. So then you go and you adopt an apprenticeship, roughly speaking, and then at least you become something. And when you're something, that makes the world open up to you again. You know, like if you're a really good plumber, then you end up being far more than a plumber, right? You end up being a good employer. Not that plumbers, I'm not putting plumbers down. It's like more power to plumbers. They've saved more lives than doctors. So, hygiene, right? So, you know, if you're a really good plumber, well, then you have some employees, you run a business, you train some other people, you enlarge their lives, you're kind of a pillar of the community, you have your family. Once you pass through that narrow training period, which narrows you and constricts you and develops you at the same time, then you can come out the other end with a bunch of new possibility at hand. And Jung talked about that. He thought that part of the proper path of development in the last half of life was to rediscover the child that you left behind as you were apprenticing. And so then you get to be something and regain that potential at the same time. Very, very smart. Well, he was very, very smart. So that's very wise thing to know. So, yep. Sacrifice. We'll talk more about that too. You get to pick your damn sacrifice. That's all. You don't get to not make one. So you're sacrificial whether you want to be or not. That's a good thing to know as well. So even though it's rather, it's a rough thing to figure out.
But how do you become something? And how would that help you with, let's say, not having love in your life or being lonely? The short answer is, because once you become something, you are not the same person as you are right now. It will be a 2.0, a more complete version of you who is in a much better mental, fulfilled, and even a better financial situation. Because let's face it, 3 years from now will come and your life can be drastically different from what it is today. Your love life, your financial life, all of that, but only if you start today. In this video, I'll explain the 5 stages that I followed, how long it took me to get results and notice a significant change. The first stage, desire situation versus must situation. Most people find themselves in the desire situation, having big dreams and ambitions, but not yet pushed to the point where they would do whatever it takes to do something. That's why a lot of people who hit rock bottom become successful. The key to achieving that hunger and the must situation is to condition your mind and body every day, gradually reaching a state of certainty. Second stage, taking a massive action. Assuming you're already in the must situation, the next step is taking a massive action. But here is the biggest problem. You have spent hours thinking about it, have watched hours of YouTube video to figure out what is the thing that is uniquely right for you to do, but you still couldn't figure it out. I'll explain how to do that in action in a second. Most people know in theory what that means. It is also known as Ikigai. It's doing something that you like, something you're good at, something that the world wants and needs, and it is paid for. That's Ikigai. You have to understand finding your Ikigai can be a process. It can take time, but certainly developing a skill or a set of skills is part of it. Don't wait. Third stage, do something. Do anything. This is probably the biggest step towards the 2.0 version of you. This is something that I did and it worked. I couldn't find my Ikigai, so I just pushed myself and I started to work 2 jobs. I got a sales job for weekends. I was working 7 days a week just to corner myself, push myself to find my Ikigai. With this method, the laziness is out the window. Now you're experiencing how your life is going to be for years to come. You have to wake up earlier, go to bed later. You have to live faster. The value of time all of a sudden drastically increases. That makes you to be more purposeful and intentional with anything that you do. The first 3 months will be the most difficult part, but don't talk about it with anyone. Don't share it. Just do it. Heads down, day in, day out, no matter what. Then it becomes your lifestyle. I knew the sales job was not what I wanted to do, but it pushed me to figure it out and bought me time to prepare for it. In order for me to actualize my Ikigai, I had to learn new skills. I had to study a lot and invest time and resources. So during this stage, I did all of that. And also, it helped me to build resilience, which is just as important. And just like a muscle that you develop, it keeps getting stronger over time. Fourth stage, pull the trigger, the lonely chapter. Learn the skill, map out how it can be monetized, and just do it. Day in, day out. Let's say you love food and drinks. Learn how to make wine and cheese, how to bottle and package them, how to sell them at your local farmer's market, and how to scale it. Accept you will lose friends because you won't have time to play video games with them on Saturdays or watch football with them on Sundays. You will lose friends, people will make fun of you, they will tell you you cannot do it, it's not gonna work out, they discourage you. But one day, they will be jealous of you and might even envy you. This is the lonely chapter. You will get tempted to reach out to your old friends, your exes, but don't do it. Those are part of your past, your previous identity. They don't belong to the future you. Learn to be lonely and embrace that solitude. It's the F them all chapter of your life. But as you change and grow, you will find people who are more like you. I promise you, you will find better friends and will go on better dates, better girlfriends of different caliber. I guarantee you. Fifth stage, not getting results. But you are. You will most likely find yourself in a situation when you were working very hard for a long time, but seeing 0 to very little results. After a year of hard work, 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, your input is 80% and the output is just 10%. But as long as you're making measurable, consistent progress, no matter how small, it is normal. You think it's not normal because you're looking at the wrong time frame, because simply you don't have that wisdom and the experience, and it's okay. If you evaluate your progress in a 5-year or a 10-year time frame, you will see on average you're getting an 80% outcome for your 80% input, if not more. How long it took me to see a result? Learning new skills, developing a thoughtful plan, executing it day in, day out, failing, learning from it, and doing it again, all took me a year and a half to make any money. But now I have these skills for the rest of my life. What's even more important is opportunities that come with it. That's where you see the bigger change, the people you meet, and the fulfillment you get. The dopamine rush that you get after finishing a project is the best form of happiness you can wish for. It becomes something that you cannot stop thinking about. It becomes your Ikigai, your purpose, your source of happiness. It would mean a lot to me if you can please subscribe to this channel. And thank you for watching. See you next week.